Hello and welcome to another exciting and inspirational edition of the Helping Hand TV show. As you know, the Helping Hand will focus on the abilities of persons with disability. H4P is 10 years old. We are bringing dignity to disability.
H4P, here for perfection. We have made changes to people's lives that you are perhaps not aware of. Every Saturday when I watch this show, I feel more heard. I feel more visible. I feel like somebody is speaking my mind. The show has brought enough evidence that these are awesome people who are doing great things. They are helping their families, institutions, churches, nation.
Remember that disability is not inability. Hello and welcome to another exciting and motivational edition of the Helping Hand TV show, where we seek to throw the spotlight on the abilities of persons with disability. And like I say, you're welcome. Welcome to my world, where disability is not inability. Special thanks to DV Unlimited Company Limited, FCC, Fire City Chapel, my proud sponsors, and special thanks to you for tuning in. I'll go for a quick commercial break. When I come back, I'll introduce you to my guest. Stay tuned. Hello ladies and gentlemen, you are with me, the voice of ability on air for persons with disability, and today I want to introduce you to someone with so much ability. Some people call her the greatest friend, others call her the sweet companion, and others still call her the faithful worker. She is dependable, reliable, and adorable, and she's committed to lending you a helping hand anytime, anywhere. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome DV Cleaners.
DV Cleaners Alata Samana Shower Gels, DV Cleaners Aloe Vera Shower Gels, DV Cleaners Body Lotions, DV Cleaners Hair Shampoos, DV Cleaners Hair Conditioners, DV Cleaners Liquid Detergents, DV Cleaners Hand Wash, DV Cleaners Floor Cleaners, DV Cleaners Toilet Cleaners, DV Cleaners Cake Soaps, and now introducing DV Cleaners Hand Sanitizers. For bulk purchase, call us on +233 278 308 246 or +233 244 467 326. DV Cleaners, one of the top most made in Ghana products. DV Cleaners, proudly Ghanaian.
And so remember that anytime you purchase any of the DV Cleaners range of products, you are lending a helping hand to a person with disability, and you are supporting H4P organization's special advocacy for persons with disability. DV Cleaners,
Nature's finest touch.
Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back to the Helping Hand TV show with me, the voice of ability on air for persons with disability. Today we have a very special episode for you. My special guest is an interventionist in autism and intellectual developmental disabilities. She's also a founder of AIDDIN, AIDDIN, AIDDIN. You are going to hear more about what she does as an interventionist. Her name is Yesuto Bewonyo Amedofu. Did I get it right? Thank you, thank you. So, Yesuto, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
You are special because what you do is special. Let's pick it up from there. An interventionist. What is that?
So basically, an interventionist is a person who develops strategies, develops programs that go to support the well-being of a person or persons with any kind of challenge. So I'm an interventionist for persons with autism and intellectual developmental differences. So you have other kinds of intervention, like social intervention, so they deal with social problems. Yes, but I deal with things that have to do with these groups of people.
Great. So let's find out where your interest comes from. This because it's a huge job. It's a very huge thing.
Yeah.
Where is the interest coming from?
I kind of resigned from my job in retail because I felt the Lord wanting me to work with children. I didn't know what kind of children, but I just knew that God didn't want me in a school, like a mainstream school teaching. But I love to work with children. And as he would have it, he got me in touch with a young gentleman who writing exams. He was trying to finish his thesis, his MPhil in psychology.
Okay.
And he had been working with children with autism.
Okay.
So he just met me in the street on Legon campus one day and said, "What are you doing with your life? What do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, I just resigned from retail, but I want to work with children." He said, "What kind of children?" I said, "Well, I think, children with special needs, but I don't want to do the traditional disabilities."
Okay.
Mind you, I had already volunteered part of my life in the university, being like a note taker for visually impaired people.
I see.
And I was very interested still in doing something, but I just knew that God didn't want me to do the mainstream disabilities.
Okay.
So he said, "Well, good, I have a job for you." And so I had to start reading around it, meet this teenage boy that he was working with, and that's where it started from. And then I found myself within a month or two also going to Awawa too, and then joining them in their training, and then moving on from there. And I know you met me at the Autism Center,
yes.
which is where most of my career was before I founded Aiden.
But before you go on, this thing with writing, taking notes for the visually impaired, how did it come about? I didn't know that about you.
I know. So one day I was coming into campus from town, and there was a visually impaired gentleman in the taxi, and he said, he just tapped me because I was sitting by him, and he tapped me. I didn't even notice he was visually impaired. So when we got to the roundabout, he said, "I'm going to Ekwafu Hall, so when we get there, let me know. Sometimes the drivers take me past." Wow. And I said, "Oh, I'm also going to Ekwafu Hall." So his name is Ruben. And so I met Ruben, and from that time, he also connected me to other mates of ours who were visually impaired and who were taking courses with me. And so from that time, that was level 200. So from level 200 to 400, I was working with them as a note taker.
That's where I'm surprised, because you are in school, you are supposed to learn. Already, we don't have enough time to finish the academic course, and you had time to help persons with disability. Is it because you have such a good nature? Is it because you have a passion for that? I want to find out, where is that coming from?
Yes, it's a passion for it, but I always say it's God that plants the passion in our hearts. And then as we open ourselves up to opportunities, the passion grows. So that's basically.
An interventionist, what does it entail?
So it entails, first of all, it's not something you can do alone. You are not Superman. And so it entails working with other professionals. And my line of intervention span from nutrition to behavior to educational skills to vocational skills development. So everything that has to do with the total well-being of the child. So when we take a child, depending on their age and stage of development, we look at a comprehensive approach to supporting
them. That's a child with disability.
Yes. A child, even an adult. So that's I said, if we look at a person, so if it's a child, you would, so a child with autism, for instance, you would ask yourself, at what stage of development, or how old is this child? Maybe the child is 10. At what stage of development are they when it comes to communication? The speech therapist might tell us, oh, their expressive communication skills is probably that of a 4-year-old. They express themselves at that level, but they understand more. Maybe they understand almost like a 10-year-old. Then we'll be talking to an occupational therapist to say, when it comes to activities for daily living, what is that person's developmental level? What do they need to have been doing by this stage, by themselves? And then they give us that feedback. And then if they are not up to, then we look at in what ways can we support the child so that they can reach that level, or at least, move on and be closer to that level. We also work with nutritionists and dietitians.
Okay.
Because some of these persons also have digestive issues that might impact other aspects of their lives. They might have other feeding issues. You can have a 10-year-old who is not chewing.
Yeah.
And so we want to find out what other ways can we ensure that that child is getting the nutrients that they need. We can talk to the speech therapist and also find out why is he not chewing. Is there something else going on there? We can also talk to the occupational therapist. Is there some sensory issue for which reason the child is not chewing? So how can we overcome these things so that the child can chew and of course eat healthy stuff? So you see that it's not just about one person. Then we come to the intellect and cognitive skills and education. And you want to find out, is the child at par with their peers? Are they at the level that they should be? If they are not, what things should we put in place? What are the foundational or pre-academic skills that they need to be able to build up and at least progress?
That's in spite of their disability.
In spite of their disability. If they cannot pick up certain concepts like the other children are doing, what other ways can we deliver the lessons so that they can grasp it? What things are they going to be able to grasp and what things are they not going to be able to grasp? You know, and it's very interesting because I worked with a child with Down syndrome, and let me use this. And in their class, they were doing addition and subtraction. This boy didn't get the subtraction. As at class 3, he wasn't getting it. He had learned to read in like 2 terms, so we're very optimistic. Addition, he's gotten it, so subtraction. He didn't get subtraction, but he got multiplication. He got division, and he worked on subtraction at the end of class 4.
Wow.
So it's very interesting. If you are just looking at it in a linear way, you might miss some things because they are developing atypically. It is not going to be linear, but it doesn't mean they cannot pick certain concepts.
It will take a lot of time.
It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of interaction with the children to be able to say, oh, this child has this foundational knowledge. This foundational knowledge, for instance, knowledge when it comes to sharing items in equal numbers. Maybe this child, when you say, oh, we are 7 people in this room, there are 42 pieces of candy. Go and share it. And the child is able to share it and everybody gets 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. That should tell you that that child has some foundational knowledge of division. He may not be adding. He may not be reading. But he has that. So now, how can we leverage on that to teach other skills rather than saying, this is not what we want you to be doing at this time. Come and learn the 1 plus 1. It is not a linear process. And sometimes, especially in the schools, the teachers miss that. They miss it. They say, if it is this, you will do it. But this one you are not doing. If the child can focus and kick a ball straight into the net, that guy has a sense of geometry that we haven't thought about. How can we leverage on it? And that's where I come in, working with other professionals to say,
that's where I will come in and go for a break. This is interesting. My guest is amazing. We'll go for 60-second success. We'll be right back. My guest is not going anywhere. We'll continue. Stay tuned.
Focus. True grit. Keep going. Keep your eyes on the prize. No stopping, because winning is not an option. It's 60-second success with the Bishop. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to 60-second success with the Bishop. Today I want to talk to you on the benefit of failure. Yes, you heard right. The benefit of failure. The question is this: what has failure got to do with success? Success is hidden in failures. The one who dares to fail greatly can rise up and achieve greatly. Your failures teach you great lessons on success. The benefit of failure, my friend, is that it teaches you what not to do so that you won't fail again. The benefit of failure is that it reveals to you the value of success. The benefit of failure is that it creates in you the attitude needed in order not to take success for granted. Successful people know that there's a thin line between success and failure. Successful people know that oftentimes failure is the elder brother of success.
Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back to the Helping Hand TV show with me, the voice of ability on air for persons with disability. Like I put it, I'm talking to an interventionist. It feels so good. Isito, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
What you said before the break was amazing. Knowing that if the child can do this, it means that. If the child can do this, it means that. I guess your job must be very difficult.
It is. I won't lie. It takes a lot of deliberation. It takes a lot of continuous learning. It takes a lot of research. Every child is unique.
How would you help parents? Because what you do, the child is going to be the parents, and the parents would not have that patience.
Many times when we work with families, we leave what you call intervention notes. Okay. So the way we have worked with the child, the things we have done with the child, we leave instructions on how we did it and the child's response. If the child didn't respond well, or in the way that we were expecting, let me put it that way, there's nothing like responding well, but respond in the way we were expecting, we would modify it. So we would have written all of that. That maybe first of all, we gave the child 40 balls and said he should distribute it in 5 baskets. And it didn't work. Maybe we decided to use 40 stones and asked him to distribute it in 10 cups, and it worked. So then we would say, okay, do it with these other things and see. Because besides everything, and I like to use autism because it's more complex. Okay. So especially in autism, and if I say complex, it's complex in the way it presents. Okay. So when it comes to autism, the challenge we have with some of the children is their inability or their difficulty to replicate skills across various situations. Okay. So when we give the parent that instruction, we are looking at them replicating it in things that are interesting to the child and also in things that are not as interesting to the child, just to see if it's just the issue of interest or is the fact that the child has not gotten the concept. Because if you are only using chalk and a board to teach a concept, or you are only using pencils and the child cringes every time they see a pencil or a writing tool, then you should use other things that they enjoy. Use Legos to do it. Use other colorful objects. And all these things are even part of what you want to call behavior management. Because sometimes as you are teaching, as you are trying to get them to develop new concepts, there's some resistance. The resistance is coming from the fact that they don't know what to expect next, and there's a lot of uncertainty and they are anxious about it for many of them. And so when you are introducing new concepts, you want to start from what does the child like to do? What things are they drawn towards? Because then at least that's a bit of certainty in the child's life. All of us, let me use this this analogy. When you're going into a new town or a new country where you don't speak the language, sometimes you've picked up a few phrases from a friend, or you have a phrase book to help you to be calm. Otherwise, touch wood, you want to use the loo, and you are in Sweden, and you can't speak the language, you will go crazy. Literally, you would be shaking, you would be sweating profusely. It's like, hey, they ask you a question, you're like, hey, yes. And imagine, anybody looking at you is like, what's wrong with this person? And many times for our children with autism who cannot communicate, imagine what happens when there is uncertainty around them and they want to tell you, look, I'm not comfortable in this space. Wow. That's when you will see some of these behaviors anyway. So in managing the behaviors,
I like your
you
example.
Want to
I like your example.
Yes, I like the examples to be very practical in a way that you realize that really there is a thin line when it comes to the behavior. So it's only that you have an upper hand, you have the advantage of being able to find your way around, being able to, you have your plan Bs, right? Basically, to enable that child to be able to cope, you want to give that child some preparation. You know, so as part of behavior management, you're looking at how do I set this child up for success in a particular situation. So we are going to church. You realize that your child, even at home, when there is loud music, they probably cover their ears. The last thing you want to do is insist that the child is sitting in the chapel when it's praise and worship time because the music is loud. You can also talk to the church and say, oh, because of my child's condition, maybe if you can have like a slow, cool music at the beginning so that the child can like settle in, and then maybe we'll sit in a bit when the tempo is going up and the noise is going up, we step out and then come. What you're doing is you are gradually exposing the child to the sound in a way that is bearable than the whole thing is quiet and then praise the Lord, okay, boom, boom, boom. It's like, what's going on?
It disorients them?
It disorients, exactly. It's like, what's going on? What just happened? No notice. It's just, everything is just gone off and I don't know what to do. You know, so I've found, and I always use the church as an example because I find that some of the parents I work with, they want to go to church. But because of the issues, and you are a pastor, so I'm raising the church thing. But because of these things, they don't go. They don't go. They would now, thank God there's church online. But they really wish there could be community, you know. And so it's a good thing for us to be conscious also as a Christian family to think about how do we include these persons? How do we include their needs? Can there be a day that it's not about the loud music? After all, God also moves in the stillness, right? That today we say we are not doing loud worship. We are doing it the quiet, like once a month. We are doing quiet worship where we are singing soft hymns and no drums and it's all keyboard or it's all just clapping hands. We are going to assume that today there are no instruments. Today your instruments are your voice and your hands.
Wow.
I know that God loves us to do these things. We don't have instruments. Some of us don't have instruments in our homes anyway. And we have to learn to worship with our hands and our voice. So it's rehearsal for when you go back home and you are feeling like worshiping and you don't have to say there is no keyboard, there is no guitar. You know, that is an opportunity for the church to grow in terms of what is singing praise to God, what does it entail, but it's also an opportunity to ensure that if there is anybody who has these issues with the loud music and all of that, as for that Sunday they can worship.
They can fellowship.
They can fellowship with you. So it's not just a thing. When I think about inclusion, I don't just think about it as a one-way thing. I think about the benefits also to the wider community, which I think many times when in general, when we talk about inclusion, people are just thinking of us favoring the person with disability. But what does it do for even those without disability? It actually makes their lives easier. They learn more. I think that it's a lot of benefits in many ways.
I'm going to go on a break. When we come back, I'll find out what if there are some challenges in the behavior. How do we handle that? Well, we'll cross over to Elorm for a spot of music, and then we'll be right back with my very special guest. Stay tuned.
and music segments on the Helping Hand TV show.
Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back to the Helping Hand TV show with me, the voice of ability for persons with disability. Today, I'm talking to an interventionist. My very good friend Yesuto is here with me. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
I'm really benefiting from what you are saying. My challenge is this. If I have, let's say, a girl child with disability, she's going through developmental stages, and as is normal with most women, you go through your menstrual cycle and all that, and this girl is having challenges with the behavior, having to deal with herself with that, so would soil herself or that, or even a boy, adolescence and feelings, hormonal issues and all that. Some of these behavioral challenges, how do you handle them?
Okay, for a minute I was going to say were you listening to my conversation a few minutes ago? But yeah, I was privileged to look at sexuality and sexuality education for persons with autism and intellectual disabilities in Ghana. And these are issues that come up every day.
It's a big deal.
Now, the difference between the way you behave and the way I behave, or the way a person with an intellectual disability or autism would behave, is just based on information and training.
Okay.
If you were not informed, if you were not trained, if you were not cultured the way you have been, you would do similar. The reason why I'm saying this is because the issue of sexuality is cultural.
Okay.
In Ghana, we don't accept certain sexualities.
Yeah.
It is cultural. So, on that level, we must be conscious about the fact that our children, beyond the biological phase that they are going to be going through, need a cultural direction.
Okay. Okay.
You understand? So, in every home I work, I tell them, you start that, giving that cultural direction, not when the child is 8 years, not when the child is 9 years. You start from as long as the child can remember. Remember, I told you that with autism, it's difficult for them to replicate what they've learned in one space, from one space into another.
Yeah.
So, first of all, the child has to use the washroom, or the child has to bath, take a bath. You should not take off their clothes in the sitting room. Because if every day you're doing it in the sitting room, now you say, hey, you're bathing breasts, so now let's go to the bathroom. Sorry, we've been doing the sitting room for 6 years of my life.
Okay.
Why are we now
Changing
to the bathroom or the bedroom? So right from day one, start changing your children in the bedroom or in the bathroom. So that culture is established. You understand? Secondly, I've met some children who strip when they get angry.
Yeah.
Now, you should ensure that before those clothes even come off, there is somebody holding them on. So you don't, you're stripping, continue, strip. When you finish, we'll take the clothes and wear. No, don't even allow it to happen. Don't even allow it to happen, so that the child realizes that this is not something you can do. You understand? But if you allow it to happen, then the child realizes, when I'm angry, I'll just do it. And then mommy will shout, 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 shout. Then she'll come and say, take your clothes and wear. So you want to, there are so many things that have to be in place. And it's about setting, again, like I say, set the child up for societal success.
Exactly.
And you have to do it from when the child is way young.
So let me find out from you, how expensive is it to get an interventionist? Because I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, every parent that has a child with disability, even an adult or a teenager with disability, you need an interventionist. So I put it to you, how expensive is it to get somebody like you to help?
Honestly, it is very expensive.
Yeah.
Because it is time consuming.
Yeah.
Many interventionists don't sleep. And we are only able to work with a few clients at a time. So I think that generally also there's a need for training.
Okay.
Training more people.
Okay.
But also training parents.
Okay.
I always try to encourage parents that you are actually the child's first therapist.
Yeah.
You as a parent. And I have watched and I admire parents who cannot afford our services, like if I say our services, us coming in regularly to work with their children, but say I work with them on a couple of hours on some critical issues, and then I say over the next 3 to 6 months, do this and give me feedback. And I see great feedback. So if a parent is also determined, it works.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, then you're looking at like at least every 3 to 6 months. We review what the issues are and then come back to the drawing board and work on the other aspects. Besides all of that, I say that generally, when it comes to raising children, I think that in Ghana, we have a big problem. Parents are assuming that, like, in fact, I won't even say like plants, but it's, I'm sorry to say this, but it's like you have a pet and all you do is you feed the pet.
And you expect the pet to grow.
You have to train that pet to use the washroom. You have to train the pet that you can't lie in my sofa. You have to train the pet. Similarly, we have to train our children. We cannot just assume that they would grow and copy what we do. Remember that by the time we are adults, we are so busy, we leave our things all over the place. We do things that we don't want our children to be doing. But at the same time, we are not correcting them. We are not saying, oh, help mommy by picking her bag from the floor and taking it to the room. You leave yours on the floor, so your child also comes back, they leave theirs on the floor. Now, if you have a child with autism or intellectual disability who is also seeing it, then it becomes the culture in the home. There is no way that thing will change for that child. When we want to come and change it, it takes the whole family to change. And so when we also work, we work with the whole family. We don't say, oh, so the nutritional changes we are putting in place. No, like we are saying, we are limiting the sugar. No sugar on the table. No sugar on the table means no sugar on the table for everybody. Because why will you be eating sugar, then you tell me I shouldn't eat sugar? So no sugar on the table for everybody. We can hide it somewhere, put it in the food before we all go and sit, and then not put it in the other child's food.
And that helps.
And that helps. And even studies have shown that when people are on like nutritional programs because of their health, when other family members are also part of it, it is successful. So now why for a child will you say, hey, the ice cream is not good for you, but the brother will be eating ice cream. Hey, the Coke is not good for you, but the sister will be drinking Coke. See, so you should not just say, oh, we are all cutting down on our sugar. And then we all cut down on it.
And it helps.
And it helps. So even for behavior to be managed well, you need what we call reinforcement and models. So models out there and opportunities that reinforce that behavior. So the reward of it, yes, but the fact that there are other people also partaking in it.
Well, H4P is 10 years old. We've been doing this for the past 10 years. It's been the goodness and the mercies of God. I'll go for H4P Show Time. When we come back, we'll talk about Aiden. I'll explain when we come back. Stay tuned.
H4P, celebrating 10 years of bringing dignity to disability. Hooray! It's H4P Show Time.
Gabi, the worst part of this whole unfortunate saga is that as I speak to you today, Edna is nowhere to be found.
And who is Edna?
The she devil my brother was going to marry, God forbid.
But how do you mean? She's nowhere to be found.
Gabi, from the day she brought that diabolic letter, no one has set eyes on her again.
But that is strange.
And is it not the devil that does strange things? I told you she's a she-devil. My brother was going to marry the daughter of the devil. In fact, the devil's cousin.
Calm down. Calm down in the name of Jesus. Oh my God. Abba, but you go and look for her at her house.
Gabi, what haven't we done? Where haven't we gone to look for that she-devil? Last time I checked, we have checked everywhere.
Goodness and mercy. Hey, this is a difficult story to swallow. Okay, how about her family? At least they should know her whereabouts.
Gabi,
yes dear.
That is the most amazing part. Her family claimed that they did not know her whereabouts.
What?
And even went ahead to blame my brother for her disappearance. They even caused the arrest of my brother.
Oh, no.
And he had to spend some days in police cells.
Oh, no. Abba, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you've had to go through all this. How is your brother? How is he taking all this? Oh, God. Oh, my God. Mercy. What is going on? Hey, calm down. Calm down, Fifi, calm down. That's Gabby. It's me, Abba, calm down. That's Gabby, my best friend. Calm down.
That is
It's okay. The devil is a liar. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. The devil is a liar. My God. No weapon that is fashioned against me shall prosper in the name of Jesus. Recover. No. Calm down. Holy Ghost fire.
Purchase copies of the H4P Melodrama DVDs today. Contact H4P on +233 209 555 777 or +233 596 313 338. All sales are for the promotion of our disability advocacy, so grab your copies now. It's H4P Show Time. It's 10 years of bringing dignity to disability. H4P Ajiko.
Yeah, welcome back to the Helping Hand TV show. I'm still talking to an interventionist. Again, it feels so good. Thank you so much, Isito.
Thank you.
What is AIDEN? AIDEN.
So AIDEN is an acronym for a very long name. Autism and Intellectual Developmental Differences Interventions Network.
Wow. And that's your project?
Yes, that is our NGO.
Okay.
And so they say we shouldn't say a NGO. They say we should say social enterprise.
I see.
So it's a social enterprise.
Okay.
And, yes, and a non-profit in ways. Yes, but basically that's what it is. We are basically a network of professionals and paraprofessionals who work together to support and improve the lives of persons with autism and intellectual developmental differences. And we say in sub-Saharan Africa. Yes.
So if anybody wants to get in touch with AIDEN, how do they do that?
You can get in touch with us on the phone or WhatsApp. 055 6616701. You can get in touch with us by email, and that's aiddingh@gmail.com. And you can go to our website and then send a message from there. And our website is www.aiden.org. Our social media pages are also on there, so you can still reach us through that.
Thank you so much. It's a freestyle segment. I know you've been waiting for that. The freestyle segment is where I allow my guests to sing, to dance, to play an instrument, anything that they want to do. What would you do for me, freestyle?
I'll probably sing. I was going to do a poem, but I can't pull it up.
So you sing?
Yes.
Okay. Please go ahead.
So I'm just making this up now. I may have special needs, nothing special, simply it's me. I may think differently, nothing different, 'cause you and I aren't the same. I am perfectly made in his eyes. I am perfectly made and it's fine. All I need is you to understand. I am as unique as you.
Wow. Wow. Indeed. Persons with disability are as unique as everybody else. Thank you so much. My very special guest, Yesuto Bewonyo Amedofu.
Yes.
Well, she's an interventionist in autism and intellectual developmental disabilities, and also the founder of AIDEN. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. Thank you so much for the education and the inspiration. We are so grateful. Special thanks to DV Unlimited Company Limited and FTC Fire City Chapel, my proud sponsors. Thank you so much. Also to all those who contribute to H4P through our mobile money system. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. And my crew, what can I say? Thank you so much for all the hard work, all the sacrifice. I'm so, so grateful. I'm going to come your way again next week. Until then, remember, disability is not inability. So take good care of yourselves, stay safe, and God richly bless you.